All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys and gals. Let me get a sip of my water first. Got a topic I want to chat with you about. Let me make sure. Did I set this to public? Let me double check it real quick. Are we public? Did we do that? Yeah, we're public. Just double checking. Take people a minute to flow into here. All right, so we're going to talk about demonizing testosterone. We're at a point where this is ridiculous to even hold these views anymore. This whole idea of the reason we demonize anabolics and testosterone to begin with was never really about health. Okay, it was about politics. It was about America being the clean, pure, non-cheaters and the Russians being the dirty cheaters. This is where the whole idea came from in the Olympics, yet we kind of were a big part of it, right? We ran and got Diana Bull kicked out for our athletes in the 1950s. All these things, I'll get to that in just a minute. Cactus Jack, you guys get those questions flowing, and I'll get to that in a minute. Because I don't even have a main source. I eat about 5 different things. So this is where this started. Okay, then we had the whole Lyle Alzado thing, but it turned out Lyle Alzado didn't die due to anabolic steroids. He took a substance that was known to cause brain cancer that you can't get anymore. He took natural growth hormone, not synthetic lab produced, which, yes, caused brain cancer in tons of test subjects in medical area. So, of course, he got brain cancer from it, right? Testosterone's never been known to cause that. He got it from taking real human growth hormone extracted from cadavers, which is what they were doing back then. And it caused a lot of brain cancer in patients who took it also, which is one reason they discontinued it and started making it synthetically. So that was such a big deal in the news. And all this continued, and then we got to the point of all this whole natural thing. And here's the reality, guys. We're at a point where most of the research at this point shows that even supplementing super physiological amounts of testosterone doesn't have that serious of health negatives. And I'm not talking about TRT. We're not even talking TRT. We're talking 300, 500, 600 milligrams. That is not TRT. That is way above. We have human clinical trials. It's just not that risky, especially compared to, say, drinking alcohol or eating McDonald's every day. It's way, way lower risk. But those things aren't demonized to the same degree. They're perfectly legal. You can feed McDonald's to your children. You won't go to prison for it. Now, we can argue if you should or not, but you won't. And therein lay the point. Same thing, alcohol. What do you need for alcohol? You need to be 21. In the U.S., we're not talking in other countries. That's it. The only requirement. Don't drive on it. So why did we make this big deal about testosterone? We're now at a point where everyone can technically go to a T clinic and get it to some extent. It's becoming popularized in the mainstream. It's ridiculous, guys. It is absolutely ridiculous at this point that we even try to demonize it in certain circles or not discuss the quality of life benefits. Okay, because we have to have those conversations. There's a reason people use it. It improves quality of life. And that's just a simple fact. And most people agree who have any experience with it. That's generally the consensus. Because we're not talking about what bodybuilders are abusing, taking 5, 10 grams a week, which is obviously insane, but that would be insane with anything. That would be like saying, hey, you shouldn't take aspirin because there's people who take 30 or 50 aspirins a day and it kills them. Well, maybe don't take 50 aspirins a day. I mean, this is really simple, isn't it? Right? Just like we would argue with alcohol, there are health risks to 1 drink a week. And someone says, yeah, but there's people who overdosed on alcohol because they drink a gallon. Well, maybe don't drink a gallon of whiskey. Does that mean we should restrict everyone's right to it because some idiot somewhere drank a whole gallon of whiskey and died? That's the level of logic we're using, because when you're talking pro bodybuilders, that is the equivalent. It really is that extreme. And that's just the nature of it. That's extreme, excessive, extreme abuse. It's not the same thing. All right. All right, let's get over and talk about some of these things. Let's get over to your questions, guys. Cactus Jack says, what is your main sources of protein? Meat. So can we count all meat in general? beef, chicken, all that. Let's count all that together. That's high on the list, right? Greek yogurt, whey protein, eggs, and what else? I'm forgetting another big one. Oh, like all my milk and other dairy, right? Like my ultra filtered milk. Those are like almost daily staples for me, like almost every day, right? So I have at least 4 different complete protein sources every single day. And that's if we count all meat together, right? Beef and chicken. All right. Betty says, how are you? I'm doing good. Jason, what's your favorite physique of someone currently in the industry who's not you? I don't know. I don't have one. I don't know how to answer that. I don't have one off the top of my head. Is that a fair statement? At least I'm honest about it. Betty says, I have interior pelvic tilt. Do you think you make squat and deadlift weaker? Just quit doing it when you squat. Problem solved. All right. Let's maintain a neutral pelvis position. Right. Chernesky said recently he was on a 10 gram of test cycle. Now he's only on 500. Well, he was doing, I know, 5 grams at one time openly. He might only be, I mean, what makes you think he hasn't cut back to 500? Right? It's possible. It's possible that is literally what he's doing. Also, quick reminder, because you guys please follow me and engage me on Facebook. For all of you who use Facebook, you would hop over there and give me a follow and engage my stuff down the road. It would be appreciated. Pepper says it only takes 1 drink to completely derail. If you have a problem, I agree. Well, in my case, there is no 1 drink. I do fine with 0. Like I can avoid alcohol completely, 0 problems. If I have 1 drink, I'm going to have 10. Okay. Fair, I thought you'd say Michael Hearn. Because you're asking me to have a favorite physique. Do I think Mike is a very positive influence? Do I like his work? Yes. Doesn't mean that his physique is my favorite per se. The guy has a great physique, obviously. I mean, and in his age, I don't think in that age bracket, and I mean, I'm pretty much almost in that age bracket now, I don't think he has any real competition. Do you know by chance why whey and milk can cause acne in some people? I mean, we can argue about it, but at the end of the day, you could still correct it with better hygiene for the most part. Just like anabolics, right? Mostly fixable by just being cleaner. Boogs, Mogs, whatever says, I get what you're saying. I'm just skeptical of people in this space who claim only TRT would obviously take more grade do set claims on it. Yeah, I mean, but sure. But it's another thing when they're admitting to 500. I mean, 500 is super physiological. I mean, I take 500, right? Like right now, like straight up. You want an honest answer, I take 500 milligrams of test right now, every week. Do you think you have a chemical dependency alcohol or just a social aspect? It's my personality. No, I don't have a dependency because I had no trouble going cold turkey. I can't stop at 1 drink. And I can't, my behavior is horrific when I drink. Does that make sense? So I don't know, do we count that as a chemical dependency? Like I had 0 problems not drinking the first drink. I went cold turkey just fine. I'm almost at 6 years without a drink. You can have a drink in front of me and offer it to me and I'll tell you no. I've done it many times. I can't have a drink. And I have 0 inhibitions once I start drinking. So that's why I don't do it. Plus, it's horrifically unhealthy. I mean, I have other lifestyle things to think about with that. So I don't know how we define that. It's definitely an alcohol problem. But I'm like that with other stuff too. It's like I struggle to have 1 slice of pizza. Although I've done better with that stuff, I actually reasonably moderated my my Christmas feast this year. So Keeping in mind, though, also, you have to remember that Doucette uses other stuff. A lot of you guys, that might be the amount of test they're using. I've known plenty of hardcore serious bodybuilders who use only a maintenance amount of testosterone. Doesn't mean they're not using 2 grams, but they might only be on 200 milligrams of testosterone. They're just on 1.5 grams of DECA and then some other stuff. Right? Are they lying? Ruben, no, it's the social embarrassment side and the consequences. Ruben, because there are consequences to your actions too. Okay? Like if you engage in risk-taking behavior when you drink, is it just a social embarrassment? Or are there potential, other consequences? Example, let's say that you have poor sexual choices when you drink, and you then choose to sleep with a heroin addict without a condom. Is it just the embarrassment side, or is it potential consequences of that? I'm just giving you an example, not necessarily saying that's what I did or didn't do. But do you see the point there? So is that just a social embarrassment, or is there consequences to this? Multiple potential consequences to this. That would be an example. Like if you have no inhibitions at all. So that's what you have to think about. I didn't get hangovers. It affected my training. Chris, everyone who knows me knows that. I don't know why that's difficult to understand. But then again, Chris, there's the difference between the internet Jason and the real Jason. They're completely different people. So the way I've been presented on the internet is a fictional character that people have versus the Jason that actually people know me. People who know me don't even understand the stuff they see online. They're like, they can't be talking about you. That's what it is. So yeah, people who know me know I party pretty hard when I drink. It's kind of common knowledge. But I don't do that anymore. So. But would we describe it as alcoholism? I would have to go get the exact. People ask me that, do you consider yourself an alcoholic? I don't really consider myself an alcoholic because I had no trouble quitting. But I did have an alcohol problem. I would describe it as a serious problem. But alcoholism would be an addiction in the sense that you struggle to not drink. So, and I could be wrong in that definition, right? I chose to never define myself that way. And I chose to just quit cold turkey. Well, how do you define much of a drinker? So you're mixing the two up. Did I have entire months where I drank an entire bottle of wine every single night? Yes. So would that sound like much of a drinker? Did I have phases where I got drunk 3 or 4 nights a week and partied? Absolutely. And I mean while having a YouTube channel. I'm not talking, 25. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I didn't have withdrawals. I had no trouble quitting. So I would say I had a problem, but was definitely not an alcoholic. But I drank a lot. Yeah, Ruben said used to get the shakes. That's definitely a withdrawal. So that's definitely an addiction for sure. All right, let's get over and talk about other stuff, man. You guys sure want to talk about it. But I agree, it does nothing but bad things. And I have a lot of people close to me in my life who drink. I have people who I know who I'm close to who are trying to cut back their drinking or trying to quit drinking. People I used to party with, all sorts of stuff. So, it's still there all around me. Like it is literally in my social life. Like regularly. But it is what it is. I accept those things. But I always try to be a good influence there. I try to be a good influence and show people, look, man, I don't have to drink. I'm good. And I think that's the only way we can approach that, is to just try to be a good influence to those people. No judgment, but be a good influence. Now, would I be upset if alcohol was completely outlawed? But that doesn't mean you go after the person who's drinking, you go after the company who's making it. Yeah. I still don't see what you mean by didn't drink very much. I felt like I drank a lot. I'm gonna say that if your wine intake exceeds 20 bottles per month, that's that you drink a lot. But maybe that's not your definition. Right. So if in a regular month you're going through 20 bottles of wine and 5 or 6 bottles of Jaeger, I think that's a fair amount. That happened while I was YouTubing for a phase, definitely for a while. But maybe your definition is more extreme. Coach, some bodybuilders switch it up and do hams before quads on leg day, or they leaving gains on the table. Is there something to it? I don't know. Honestly, I tend to, if I'm going to do quads and hams in the same day on a leg day, I'll usually have people superset it, right? Or do them back to back like a quad exercise and hamstring exercise. But I'm generally going to have them squat before doing a hip hinge movement for sure. Alberta says I'd rather just smoke marijuana, probably. Versus alcohol. Yeah. Should a good morning be as strong as your squat? Man, that is a subject of controversy, Pepper. We could make a case for it. It's something I've said before is an interesting standard to reach toward. Louis Simmons always said that. Now, am I saying it's an absolute, you have to reach it? No, but is it an interesting goal to strive towards? And is there benefits to that? In other words, if you can, good morning is close to what you can squat, it does give you a certain advantage when you're squatting heavy, right? There are advantages to doing that, but it's not always easy to achieve. Lewis says waking up January 1st with no hangover and early morning lifts is the way to go. There you go, dude. Chris says this old dude in my gym said that people who do TRT are drug addicts and it makes you less of a man. But he has tits and was busted up at 50. I think TRT extends your functionality to 70 at least. Yeah. Chris, exactly. He's busted up at 50 and like that. And then I'm over here saying, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. I'm 48. You say so, brother. It sounds like a coat to me. Instead of some of us who just say, you know what? I'm just going to have better living through chemistry. And just be content with that fact. Right? Just be content with it. And there's the difference. There's no code there. It's like there's a point where a lot of guys I know is we've done this a long time. We just kind of say, look, dude, it just is what it is. We just accept it. Just accept it. Just own it. It doesn't matter if other people say, you know what? That makes you less of a man. I'm like, no, technically it is making me very much an enhanced more of a man. I'm sorry. if we're going to use definitions, I mean, if people are going to say, well, you're relying on something to help. Okay, well, quit relying on protein powder, quit relying on eating meat, quit eating clean, healthy food. You're relying, quit taking hot baths to recover. Go live out in the mountains with no house and no quality food and no weights. You're just using external things to cope and make you stronger and more fit. I mean, come on, shut up. Like, whatever, dude. How about those of us who just say, look, we just want to get the results by every, not through shortcuts, but by every means necessary. How about we just do whatever we need to do to get our results? Train hard, eat well, use testosterone, do whatever we have to do to just be our best versions and to live the quality of life that we want. And just accept it for what it is. As Chris said down here, he's better living through advanced chemistry. Exactly, Chris. Chris, is this the Chris Reyes I think it is, or a different one? Sam Warren, how you doing, bro? You doing good, man? Is that Chris Reyes? Hope you're doing good, brother. Shoot me a DM, check in, man. Also, let me know if you want coaching. It is January rolling up, and I got slots. But otherwise, just check in and say hello. You don't necessarily have to get coaching. Hello, brother. Let me know that you're doing good. Toodle Crew says, hi. Well, hello, Toodle. Jason Alberta says, it's a good morning, a very functional mood. I mean, how do we define functional? Does it carry over to be an amazing squat and deadlift accessory? Yeah, so is that a function? Yes, sir. A lot has changed since we worked together. Glad to see you're staying sharp. I'm staying on it, man. Everything is good, dude. Right? Gains are on point. Life is good. I mean, I have my struggles in life like everyone else. I got certain things I don't want to talk about, but trying to get resolved in my life. Toodles, I haven't cut down recently. I'm not at a lighter body weight at all this year versus the lowest point. I'm 214 this morning. I've been as low as 204 at one point this year. But I mean, obviously I was in the 240, 245-ish at one time, a few years back. So yeah, but yeah, losing body fat is really the key to vascularity more than anything else. Hydration, electrolytes, right? I've got all my potassium and stuff going for the day, so then the veins pop out. So even there's potassium and electrolytes in my water. That also helps a lot. So most I've ever weighed as a lifter or as a fat person. I was probably topping 320 before I started lifting. But I don't know that for a fact because I didn't weigh. I was too embarrassed to estimate. Ballpark. That's the most I've ever done on camera, because honestly, what I did in my 20s is completely irrelevant to us. Since we didn't have cameras and I can't prove anything, let's stick with what I have done on camera only with calibrated plates. How's that? I've deadlifted 635. I've pause bench 365, both with a wide and a closed grip on different months. I've squatted, I mean, the most I've squatted above depth with a camber bar was 605. I think the most I've actually squatted ever on camera has been like 550-ish. I think would count. Maybe 545. I have to go back and check. And what I did when younger is irrelevant because I can't prove any of it, so we're just going to leave it alone. I'm not going to bother. The main risk of gear is that if you're not getting it from a doctor, you're taking a huge risk. What do you mean? Not necessarily. Subject to debate. There's a lot of good labs out there. Have good reps. It is what it is, though. And that's a fair point, though. That's something you do have to weigh out. Toodle, everybody on YouTube does, even the ones who claim. Anybody even tell me they're natural at this point is a fitness influencers on gear. Just, they're lying. Let's just accept that for what it's worth and just leave it there. You shouldn't need to ask. So when someone then says, well, this person is natural and they're doing better than you, they're not natural. Because they lied to you, so they're a liar. I mean, come on. Didn't Rich Piana sell good gear close to pharmaceutical grade? I heard his stuff was good, yeah. Chris Reyes, do you coach kettlebells by chance? No, not specifically. Well, no, Rich had a good chemist, right? Like Rich's guy, because Rich didn't make his stuff. He had a guy make it. A guy named Red was his nickname. I don't know his full legal name, but everyone called him Red. So that was Rich's guy who made the stuff. But it was apparently, I know people who used it, like personally, people I've known in real life who used the stuff and they were happy with it. Jason, would you ever consider doing a video on how to optimize sleep? I've done a few over the years. Toodles, have you ever thought about doing weighted? Like I do weighted pull-ups on camera every single week. In my vlogs every week, man, I got weighted pull-ups. But it's not calisthenics once you add weight. So if a weighted body weight movement counts as calisthenics, then that 500-pound box squat I did today is a calisthenic because a squat's a body weight exercise. I just happened to throw 500 pounds on it. Hey, Chris. Well, sure, but it's hard to think if there would be no side effects from eating McDonald's. In fact, we know there are. And that's not the point. It's about risk versus benefit for you as a person. Can you do a muscle up? Don't know, don't care. I have no interest in doing a muscle up. Coach, does it matter if I can't clear my chin on the pull-ups? No, that might just be the way you're built. In fact, a lot of times if your chin clears, you may not be just using your lats, you're rotating other muscles in and unengaging the lats, depending upon your biomechanics. Depending upon the form in your biomechanics, you may actually not be doing yourself any favor. So it depends on what your goal is. What are you trying to do? What form are you using? Used to be big on pin leg rows. How come you never do them? Because I like other stuff more. What weight do you use for your cardio walks? 50 pounds. I haven't been doing them the last couple of weeks. 50 pounds. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, Chris, exactly. The people are like, oh, you're taking a shot. Exactly. So, if we use that logic, don't take antibiotics when you get an infection. Quit taking shortcuts. It's cheating. So that might be necessary for survival. Okay. So you're having severe headaches and migraines that are not lethal to you. You shouldn't take anything for it because it's cheating. Just deal with it. Quit cheating. Quit cheating for improved quality of life. Dirty cheaters. All right. Live with them headaches. All right. Chris says, you'd be a real man if you did. All right. Chris Oliver, does range of motion always get shorter to age? No, not necessarily. Toodles, have you ever trained? If I did, I wouldn't tell you guys. It would be none of your business. But generally, it would be prohibitively expensive for you because I'd have to schedule my life around it. and then have people in my home. And there's other issues with all that right now. So at the moment, that would not even be an option on the table. And I'm not going to explain why. So. Right, Chris. I mean, people have a lot of confusion with that, don't they? Other than, the esters and the time release factor. You're right. Testosterone is testosterone. It's not even, testosterone is not even species specific, by the way. Hey, Chris, I feel like I've discussed that so ad nauseum. I just don't. Can I be fair with you? I'm just kind of sick of discussing that one. It's like I've discussed it so many times. It's just like I just want to just roll my eyes at that. And I'm not being a dick. It's just kind of one of those, man, the thousandth time. Like, I feel like if you guys made a playlist of every time I've discussed it, it would be 20 hours long, 50 hours long. I've like dedicated an entire work week of my life. You can't have missed it. You can't have watched that video about me. I'm probably exaggerating, but yeah, it's just, we've gone over the inflammation in my shoulders, the possible calcium deposits from the other overuse, pull up, impingement, and blah, 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 blah. It's just, I got other shit to talk about. Chris Ray, it's good to see you, Jason. I bought a house in November. I'll hit you up for coaching after I move all my weights in from my old home. Nice. Took kettlebells due to former spacing constraints. Excellent. Yeah, man. Hey, shoot me a message again and let's get a chain roll, or else I'll find you in the old messenger. Because I know, we did a consultation again a while back after I quit coaching. Why don't you have an external mic? What do you mean, Toodles? Right here. It's just outside of the camera view. She's using manifestation. Yeah. I've got stuff sitting right here in front of my screen, but I want to do it too. This is what it is. You just work on manifesting what you want to the universe. Chris, not really. I never lost mobility. You mean range of motion? Those are not the same thing. My mobility is elite. Is it not? My range of motion might suck on certain movement patterns, but my mobility is extreme. Extreme. I am insanely strong at the far edges of my range of motion. By any metric. I just don't have a good range of motion in certain joints. So I think the term you mean is flexibility. I would say don't get overuse injuries. Don't do 100 chin-ups a day, every day, and try extreme crazy stuff like that, no matter what Goggins or anyone out there tells you to do. Right? Because I'd say that was where I started getting the shoulder problems I'd originally had within a short span of time. Hey, Chris, I appreciate the donation, man. That sounds good. Hit me up later. Awesome. Hello, are you familiar with training for rugby? Any specific tips? Is it similar to training for American football? Do you just get strong, get thick, get explosive? Train them like every other field athlete. It doesn't have that many specific needs. Yes, I've coached people who do rugby before as far as their strength training. Box squats are really, really useful. Right? But just getting strong and jacked is useful. Why would you do 100 chin-ups a day? That's a good question, Hans. In retrospect, I don't have a good answer to that. At the time, my answer would have been because I can, because we're going to push the bleeding edge. And therein lay the problem. Not clearly thinking through fatigue management. So that was one of my big mistakes. Otherwise, I've done well. Like, all things considered, though, that was really my biggest snafu, because everyone else I know is really busted. I have other friends even now who chime in who have been like, dude, you just box squatted 500 pounds on a 12-inch box with no wraps, with no sleeves. Like, what the, like, other friends of mine in my age bracket who were serious lifters, they're like, dude, I'm jealous. You know, but in retrospect, because I was going through a phase where I wanted to push that bleeding edge of what could I get away with in terms of workload? What could my body handle? Would it give me better gains? Would I get jacked arms? What would happen? And other people were doing it. I got the idea from Jamie Lewis. He was doing it. I'm like, yeah, Jamie can do it. I can do it. Not always wise, my friend. Know your limits and know what's a sane level of workload. Build the things gradually. Be aware of overuse potential. Just going by the image. No, I'm not going to do bodybuilding. That's just from a quad shot from today. Right? That's from today's leg training. That was just a quick quad shot I did in the middle of the vlog. It's in the vlog. It's just a snapshot. That was today's training. If I go from a 50 kilo push press to a 140 kilo push press, how much will I be stricter? I don't know, man. I don't have an answer to that. Sorry. I do not have an answer, my friend. It'll be whatever it is. It will probably go up, though. So why don't you just go test it? So here's my question. Instead of asking, will it be, why don't you just test it? That seems to be like a problem for a lot of guys. That's hypothetically, why don't you just go do it? Hypothetically, what would happen if we just tested? What would happen if hypothetically we just did this? What if hypothetically we just trained hard and correctly? That's one of my favorite ones to certain people's hypotheticals. Hypothetically, what would happen if we just optimized shit? Thoughts on farmers' walks? I think they're great. I think they're a very solid form of GPP. Time tested and time proven. How's that for an answer? That's my thoughts on it. Pedro, well then, I'm sorry, man. Then I guess you'll just have to keep wondering, because no one's going to have an answer to that. There's no answer to your question that you will get short tested. Can we get you to do the classic? I don't actually know what his quads don't look like. I just kind of flexed my quad and turned it out. I didn't really stop it, right? Didn't really stop it. There's an answer for you. The problem is because the amount that you get from a push press versus a strict press, there's not a direct ratio. Pedro, that's the problem. You're going to have to find out what your personal disparities are with a specific form on push press versus your strict press, and then assess potential changes over time. How long does someone need to run a program to truly gauge its efficiency? At least 12 weeks. How much should you be able to farmers walk at 150? There's no answer to that to us. What implements you're using? How much grip strength do you have? What's your conditioning with that? There's no answer to that, dude. Right? There's no answer. Besides general physical preparedness. But here's the other thing. People can hate on me all they want, but I'm wearing a shirt and I look like I lift. Just saying. Can we say that about everyone in the industry? I'm 48. All right. How long does it take to, all right. Do you think rectus abdominals is primary or secondary in wrestling? What do you mean? Han says his chat's kind of dead. Yeah, not really. It's just, I'm going to answer whatever people talk about. Say, Han, so why don't you throw some questions in that you would find fascinating? How do you overcome anxiety related to how much you'll be able to lift in the training session? Why would you have anxiety? You need to just learn to lift heavy without getting psyched up, and that goes away. Training just needs to become your normal. So if you're getting emotionally invested in your lifting, you probably use too much pre-workout, you use too much psyching up, you're using too much psychological arousal in general in your training. You gotta learn to just chill, dude. Just want you to make a note. When you see a lot of my heavy lifts, do you see me particularly psyched up? Or do I just go lift the weight? Occasionally you'll get a fuck yeah or whatever. Have you ever tried? Many times. I have had many clients who compete in combat sports of a variety of disciplines, and including vlogs of people specifically saying which combat sport they compete in here on the channel over the years. Have I ever competed in any combat sports? No, no desire to. I'm too old to get hit in the face. I'm just too old to get hit in the face, man. I'm just not doing it. If that makes me a pussy, then that makes me a pussy. I just accept it. I don't want to get hit in the face, man, at this point in life. Coach, that's your next shirt, an image of you with the words, learn to just chill, dude, right? It's mad how water retention can make you look a few body fat percentages higher. Yeah, absolutely. It can change day to day, too. It can change day to day. It is what it is. What are your thoughts on stretching and how much you stretch? I don't stretch. I don't care. Is that turn in your gym for any particular activity or exercise? What do you mean that turn? Turf? Yes and no. Okay, I'm about to laugh. Originally, when I put it down, that was going to be the intent. In reality, it didn't pan out. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do my sled inside. When I want to do my sled indoors, I'm just going to have that turf to do it on inside. It was really cold and raining. And, it doesn't stick down. So I put it down. And for that purpose, and ended up not working out. So I just left it because it's there, right? Might as well have it. I can wipe my feet on it and stuff. And it looks good on the floor. Are you any chance related to John Blaha? Toodles, I was told my whole life I was, but apparently some crazy hater troll researched it, and I'm not, apparently. I haven't actually double checked it. So because of that, I don't have an answer for you. I was told I was my whole life, but it turns out I may not be. I don't know. It's just not really been worth me looking into, but apparently someone who hates me researched it and found a whole genealogy and posted it. I didn't double check it, but it appears if they're correct, then I'm actually not, and I got lied to. Thanks, Dad. How's that for a fair answer? But in my defense, I would say if I repeated something that I was told, it's not a lie on my part. It's me not realizing I got lied to. Such is life. What do you do? Was fitness and exercise a big part of your brain? No. All right. Because people have no lives. Toodle, there's a whole reason with a backstory as to how that got started. It's just too much to get into. Keeping in mind that people who hate me don't even hate me. Toodles. They literally hate a fictional version of me that they've created. It's not even a realistic version of me or my life. So just context. So essentially, people have created this own version of me to hate that they then project onto me. It's really strange. Right. I could go down a list, but I don't feel like going down the list of stuff that is just completely not based on reality at all. At all. You said or did this. I actually didn't. You claim this. No, I actually don't. So it's kind of like self-admitted, but I don't claim it, so it's not self-admitted. Just pulling shit out of weird places, remixing videos. I don't get it. Again, Toodles, the reality, that's how the internet works. These things happen. Again, fictional version of me, not actually based on me. No, I make videos in public hands all the time. I just choose not to involve other people so they just don't get messed with. I mean, I could collab, they're just people get harassed and accept that. Hey, Toodle, I don't have an answer to that. All right. What convinced me? Nothing. Who said I'm convinced? Just because I use a tool doesn't mean I'm convinced it works. All right. I don't know, there may just come a point where I may just go do stuff all the time and just start doing stuff in public and not care and just let people waste their entire lives giving bad reviews to every store I walk through and just make asses of themselves and waste their time and just do it. I could just do that. I've thought about it. Start tagging myself in grocery stores just so that people can waste their whole lives harassing grocery stores. Why not, right? There's just a level of mental illness that is fascinating to behold. Can you elaborate on having no plans to do a bodybuilding show where you're doing bodybuilding poses? How tells it? Sure, I can elaborate. I have no plans to do any bodybuilding shows. There you go. All right, any advice to achieve that vascularity you have? Get leaner. Do some cardio. Do some conditioning. But mainly it's just low body fat. You're going to have vascularity any place where you're lean at. It's going to happen. It is unavoidable. I want to be clear on that. If you are really lean in any area of your body, it is going to have veins. I spoke to a 55-year-old about TRT the other day and was worried about shutdown. Literally doesn't make it. He's already shut down. Do you think you could end up opening your own gym, Toodles? I wouldn't tell you if I had planned on it. Right? Here's the thing, Toodles, in business, and this is something I've been advised by a number of very successful people. They're like, you have a bad history of telling people your plans way too often. That is a good way to be unsuccessful in life because it gives other people the opportunity to undermine you. And they're like, you don't even have to have haters. People will become your haters automatically and will try to undermine your efforts, even if you're the most likable person in the world. So I've been told that by multiple people. Don't tell people your plans. Right? Don't tell people your plans. Chris, I will eventually probably open public businesses. I'm just not going to tell people what they are and why. You know? Because there comes a point with some of that where harassing businesses can get people in trouble. Like it's no longer just a minor thing. So. In fact, I almost feel like it would almost be a great strategy to start going to a lot of places in public just so that those places get pissed and start suing people or calling police on them for harassing them. Like that actually might be a viable strategy. I'm just saying. Toodles, I've already reinvented my persona. It just doesn't mean that haters go away just because you change some stuff. Yeah, Peter's a good guy, so his stuff is just cool. His stuff is cool. No, I like Peter. We get along good. But man, I feel like you guys have turned. I shouldn't have let this happen. You guys turned this all into a stream about that stuff, and it really shouldn't be. Like, I apologize to other people. I shouldn't have even allowed this entire conversation to go there. I should have just blocked everyone who brought it up, but I'm not going to. But in the future, I will remember to not address those questions at all. I need to get better at that. That is a mistake on my part that I fully admit I need to work of just refusing to answer those sort of topics at all. In fact, Chris, you probably want to really just need to go. All right. Yeah. So while the last few minutes I'm here, do we have any actual, I'll just, yes, they did. I'll just say, what are you talking about, TNC? That's an interesting way to open a conversation. Who is they and what? What are we talking about? DF, it shouldn't be that complicated. Let me see if I polish videos. I can just put out more videos. I feel like the lives do more than anything else, honestly. Boosting my total numbers. They seem like they boost my subscribers the most. But I'll just keep doing my thing, Toodles. I feel like if I just keep getting leaner, more jacked, and stronger and tighter, that alone will eventually get what I need. Because at the end of the day, if we're going to do fitness stuff, that's what people care about. They care about results ultimately. I mean, people who are actually going to be worthwhile to you as a follower. You know? All right. On TNC, I would say that's the case. It's about results. So I'm putting up big numbers again, getting leaner, more jack. What happens if I tighten the waistline up, get deeper abs, bigger arms, and get stronger? I keep doing it while getting older. It gets noticed eventually. It literally is just simply a matter of time before other people start commenting your bigger names. It invariably will happen. Hey, Marco, it seems weird so many people are asking about TRT when this video is about testosterone, not TRT. I'm talking about straight doing test. I'm not even talking about TRT. So are we talking TR? So there is no answer to your question. When can you expect it will happen when it happens? The doctor, which doctor says, hey, Jason, I recently ran the Ice Cream Fitness 2.0 program while detraining due to some medical issues. It worked great for getting my strength back. With this time, made faster progress. Thanks again. You are most welcome. All right. The problem is that I don't know how to do more refined content. And there's a lot of other stuff I have to sort going on in my life for me to do certain things that I don't want to discuss. And I can't discuss in public. So I don't want to get into that. There are roadblocks to certain things happening in my life. But yeah, eventually I've got to figure out some actual skills to improve content. I mean, you could say, hey, you should learn to do something. Well, hey, great. So I don't know how to learn to do something. That's not a correct answer. I literally don't know how the fuck to do it. So I need a starting point to even begin to figure that out. I'm really not that amazing of a tech person. You guys may not realize this. I'm actually a coach and an educator. I'm not an amazing tech guy. All right. It's all been actually a relatively difficult learning curve. Toodles, that would be none of your business. Just like you guys haven't known about multiple people I've dated, you don't need to know about current or future. The problem is outsourcing editing is that it becomes legal issues, rights issues. I can't use it on all platforms. So for example, I can't use it on Facebook if other people have any work involved in it, or they put a picture or a video clip or an audio clip that I am not the copyright owner of. It becomes a problem for me. So it's an issue of putting all my stuff on the multiple platforms. So that's also a bit of a problem. Testosterone supplementation is good for those following extremely low-fat diets or going below. Sure, but real Rob, how about just it's useful for everybody? Rob, let me ask you a simple question. Pretty much anyone who doesn't already blast gear, if they started adding more testosterone, would they see benefits? Irrespective of if they're ultra lean or they follow a specific diet. Yeah, Toodles, I will never, ever, ever, ever let anyone from the third world country touch any of my stuff. This is a problem, and everybody knows that. Nope. Yeah, most big channels have a large team behind them, but they're in a situation to do that. So, in any event, guys, I'm getting really annoyed, so I'm going to start coming across as a dick. So I need to wind this down, because then I'm going to start being rude to my audience, and I don't want to do that. All right. Plus, we're at an hour deep. I need to get a meal in. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.